everybody. Terralyn here from Riverside Reptiles, and today we are going to be talking about our Sulcata tortoises. So while we're waiting for some people to tune in, I figured I would tell you a little bit about them. We have our first guest. So they are, oh, it's Casey. Hi, Case. So since this week is desert habitats, we are going to be meeting the Sulcata tortoises because they are found in desert-like habitats. They're found in sub-Saharan regions in North Africa. So the Chad, Sudan, they are found near Egypt and Ethiopia, and they're found in dry, arid regions and sub-Saharan temperatures, so on the desert fringes. They are found in arid scrublands. And while I'm here, I figured I would show you, while we're waiting for more people to join us, one of my little friends who's found in the deserts in Australia. I'll flip this around. And this is Napoleon. And Napoleon is a bearded dragon. He shares the enclosures with our Aldabra tortoises and our Sulcata tortoises. Right now, he is basking in the glow of this really cool heated lamp structure. And as you can see, he is just soaking it in. He probably also thinks I might have a cockroach or something for him. But Napoleon is an Australian bearded dragon. And if you participated in my very first Mystery Monday, you might notice that his foot was the very first one. He's getting a close-up right now. We have 7 people. Today, Gina's going to be doing the talking, and I'll be reading off some questions for her, and we can hopefully both answer them for you. If we, by some chance, don't know the answer, then we can answer it later. So we have 7 people. Okay. What do you think?
I think the tortoises are very hungry, so we should probably get started.
Okay.
Hi everybody, I'm Gina. I'm the zookeeper here at Riverside Reptiles Education Center. And today we're in with the African spur tortoises, which are also known as Sulcata tortoises. We have Tank and Dozer.
Here's Tank. And Dozer.
So these guys are really excited to eat, but before we put the food down, I thought I would show everybody a little bit of what they get. So in the wild, these guys would eat lots of grasses, cactus, and flowers. So lots of high fiber, greens, and low protein. So we like to give them lots of dark greens. Today they are getting a mix of collard, some dandelion greens, and a little bit of romaine. This guy's very excited.
He's a hungry, hungry hippo. He's like, give me some food.
And then we also give them this commercial Missouri brand tortoise pellet. And then to make sure that they get all the vitamins and minerals they need, especially calcium and vitamin D, we do sprinkle everything with a little bit of this vitamin powder, special for reptiles.
Tank's
we'll also
coming
give
over
them some
too.
hay. And once in a while they can get a little bit of fruit. So today they're going to get a little bit of cut up apple. All right, so
I'm going to take a seat here. Does anybody have any questions? Casey says hi. Hi, Case.
hi, Casey.
Gina and Brian designed these feeding platforms of rocks for them. They have one for their hay and one for their rocks. As you can see, they do not waste any time. They're very hungry.
So we're going to sprinkle some of this pellets all throughout the greens. Make these guys a little bit over here.
right in there. Dozer was actually rehomed from one of Brian's friends, and Tank here also. As you can see, they also have the name African spur-thighed tortoises based on these spurs that are actually protection from predators. So when they tuck their head into their shell, their feet don't go all the way in. So those spurs help to keep them protected. Lenny DeGray says hi. Hi, Lenny.
And Sulcata tortoises are the third largest species of tortoise. They come just behind the Galapagos and the Aldabra tortoises, but they are the largest mainland tortoise, since the other two are more of an island-dwelling species.
Yeah, they can grow to be 220 pounds. Dozer found the apple. Sometimes you might see them holding some of the items with their feet, but they do not have any teeth. They have a beak like a bird.
And in the wild, since they live in such a harsh climate where it's really hot, they're actually only active during the early morning and early evening, which we usually call crepuscular. And they'll spend the middle of the day in a burrow. They'll actually use their legs to dig a burrow and hang out in there to escape the really hot midday. And in the wild, they can actually go several weeks without food or water. And they're really good at retaining water. Their thick skin helps keep it in. Sulcatas actually rarely ever drink from a water bowl. In the wild, they're used to only getting water after a big rainstorm. So here at the Education Center, we actually mimic rainstorm in their enclosure a couple times a week. We'll take a hose with a spray nozzle and shower the whole enclosure down, including them. And when puddles start to form, they'll actually take that opportunity to drink for a while.
So we have a couple questions. How much do Tank and Dozer weigh? Tank weighs I'm trying to remember what Brian told me. I can get back to you on the weights. But Lenny wants to know where they live in the wild. Oh, yeah, we said that in the beginning, Lenny. Sorry.
So they're found in the southern Sahara Desert region, where the desert kind of mixes into a more scrub and grassland.
So because this week is desert habitats, we decided to focus on them because they're found in desert-like habitats.
They're very loud chewers.
And they are very vocal too. Sometimes they'll make other sorts of grunts and hisses. And this is a good view of how we got the name turtleneck, because of their skin around their neck and because they hide in their shell. Anyone else have any questions for us?
So while we're talking about their shell, actually, not sure if people are aware, but their shell is a really good protection against predators. It's nice and hard. It's actually made out of a protein called keratin, which is the same protein that's found in our fingernails. And although it's a nice hard covering and protects them well, they can actually feel their shell. They have a lot of nerve endings in it, so they can actually feel like if you touch their shell. And these guys actually enjoy, when we do hose down the enclosure and we give them a little bit of a shower, they actually enjoy the feeling of the water on their shell.
And their shell, that top part, is known as a carapace. I always think of it because they carry that top part around. Carry kind of sounds like carapace. and the bottom is flat, and it's called a plastron. And I always think of plastic as flat, some of it. And it kind of sounds like plastron. My son Jax would love to know how long they live and how big they can get. That's from Katie Murphy.
So they're really long-lived animals. They can typically live over 70 years, and it's been documented that some have lived up to 100 years. Their size, the males can get to be about 200 pounds and 30 inches long, while the females are a bit smaller at 90 pounds and 20 inches long. When these guys first hatch out of the shell, they're only 2 inches, and they grow pretty quickly.
I guess they're taking some breath in between eating some of their apples. And I'll get back to you specifically about their ages and weights. If you're just joining us, they're also known as spur-thighed tortoises. And this is a good view of those spikes on their feet. And those help them when they are tucked in their shell. They can't fit all of their feet into the shell, so those help to protect them from animals that might try and eat them. It's almost impossible to tell how old they are. Someone told me once at a show that I was doing that you can count the rings on their shell. That's true for trees, but not for turtles and tortoises. Unless you have them from an egg, it's almost impossible to know how old they are. But some tortoises, like large tortoises, you can measure their carapace. And I will get back to you officially on how old they are. And you're welcome. You want to talk about how they're vulnerable in the wild?
So in the wild, these guys have really good defense just from their hard shell and their spur-looking thighs. They'll just retract their head into their shell and use their legs to cover the front, which is a pretty good deterrent for most predators. Most predators can't bite through their shell. In the wild, really their biggest threats are loss of habitat and over-collection for the pet trade from humans. Because these guys are only 2 inches long when they hatch, they're adorable little baby tortoises. A lot of people decide they want to try to get them for a pet. But they can be a little difficult to take care of in a house because they need lots of room to roam as they get really large. They can also be a bit destructive. We named these guys Tank and Dozer because they're really heavy and they like to charge into things. And they also, have specific nutrition requirements. They have to have specific lighting to make sure their bones and shells remain healthy.
And our lighting features are right here, actually.
And they also have to always have a very warm climate. So it can be especially difficult if you live somewhere where it's cold to keep them inside all the time.
This is kind of like their brunch. Anybody out there want to tell us what you're eating or what you ate for breakfast or having for lunch? Is anybody out there having a nice salad or an apple? They pretty much have eaten all their apples already. I see one little piece left right there. These tortoises do not make good pets. If you're thinking that they look cute, They require a lot of care and they get really big. This is just minimal for how big they're going to get.
Yeah, and if you are thinking about getting a tortoise for a pet, just like any pet, we definitely recommend you do your research beforehand. And it's really common for sulcatas to be given up because they have such, they have so many demands at home. A lot of people end up realizing they can't take care of them at home and surrender them to educational facilities or rescues. So that is another good area to look into if you definitely think you want a pet tortoise, is to try to adopt one.
They can also outlive you, most likely. You'll need to put them in your will. Oh, hey, Melissa. Katie wants to know, how long have they existed? Back to the dinosaur ages?
Yeah, that's right. Turtles and tortoises as a group of animals in general are pretty ancient. They were around back when the dinosaurs were.
Do they have ears and can they hear? They have internal ears. So they don't have external ear openings like you and I. They sense more through vibrations. And I like to say it's kind of like if you had earmuffs on, a scarf wrapped around them, and then maybe a hat over that. It's kind of very muffled the way they think that they hear. You said that in the wild, they may only eat every couple of weeks. How often do you guys feed them?
So at the center here, we do feed them every day. They get a variety of dark greens, hay, because they're big grass eaters. That's their most natural diet, is grass. And we do give them a tortoise pellet that is specially formulated with all the nutrients they'll need to supplement their diet. And sometimes we'll give them other vegetables and fruits on occasion, squashes, pumpkins, carrots, apples, melons.
Bananas. Did you say that?
Nope. Bananas, they love.
They even eat the peel.
They do love all the fruits, but we do limit how much fruit they get because there's a lot of sugar in it. They're primarily grass and vegetation eaters.
And Brian, when they were living at Brian's house, he would let them graze in his yard when it was very nice out. Thank you all for tuning in. Well, I think we have like 4 more minutes. If anyone wants to get a last minute question in, now's your chance. Otherwise, you can post it and we'll answer it after this has aired. Maybe we can talk about memberships and our new Zoom parties.
Yeah.
Want to do memberships?
Yeah, so we are offering a limited time sale on memberships to Riverside Reptiles Education Center, which you can find on the website, riversidereptileseducationcenter.com. So there's a pre-sale. You'll get a discount if you purchase a membership ahead of opening. And for anybody that does, we're going to be offering a members only sneak peek pre-opening before our grand opening. And there's also some other benefits you get with membership, like discounts on birthday parties and
Free passes.
Yep, and items in the gift store.
Oh, Tracy, my roommate from college, just tuned in. Hi, Trace. And they are the cutest things, Megan. Thank you. We will see you at the 1:30 Zoom. Looking forward to it. Hi, Sarah. So that's a good segue. We are now doing Zoom to you birthday parties. It is a good way to practice social distancing and still connect with others in your home. So if you are familiar with the Zoom platform, I will be connecting with you with 5 of our animal ambassadors, and you can invite friends from your classroom. Today we're doing a scout troop, and we're also doing Lucy's birthday party, and we are actually going to be Zooming with someone from England. So they'll get a chance to see some of the animals they might not normally get to see, and in the safety of your own homes. We are also offering that for libraries, senior centers, anywhere that you have access to Zoom. We'll be able to connect with you virtually. Let's see. Lenny says, do they show affection towards Brian or you? Are they just indifferent until feeding time?
That's an excellent question. I guess it's hard to know exactly what they're thinking, but I will say that they definitely recognize us. They definitely associate us with food, which is their favorite thing, and their favorite time of day is eating. So whenever we enter their enclosure, they're usually marching right over, hoping that we have some snacks with us.
Lenny, if you go back in time on here to our very first live, I was in the enclosure with our Sulcata tortoises, and they do like their necks and their shells touched. So there is some footage of us, well, me, because I was alone on that one, but I was giving their necks a little bit of a rub, and they do like that. They actually go up on their feet and they're almost like their tiptoes so that they can get scratched. And you're welcome. Thank you all for tuning in. This will be posted on our site if you did miss the whole thing or if you missed part of it. And we'll get back to you if we didn't answer your questions, or if you're just tuning in and you have more questions, feel free to write them down and we'll answer them. Thanks again. Stay safe and have a great rest of your day. Enjoy your lunch when it's time to eat. And I'll see my friend Sarah at Zoom later. Have a great day.